Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer. This is Metatron speaking. I have a message for you today from Yeshua or Jesus. Um, and the way this came about, I want to kind of give you some background. So the way this came about was that I actually write on Medium as well as posting on YouTube. I know some of you follow me there on Medium also. So on Medium, it's just writing, and I have there are other individuals on Medium who channel angels, and one of them is Jody Helm. And since the moment I got on Medium in search of others who were kind of going through the same experience as me, who could understand me, she was one of those standout people for me from the beginning. And so what happened with this message is Metatron actually had me reach out to her. And this isn't the first time I've reached out to her. I actually reached out to her once 2 years ago. We had a little back and forth conversation, and I had questions for her about my husband's abilities because I don't really talk about it much, but my husband is able to communicate with departed souls. He's able to move them over from the astral realm back to the light. He channels guides in order to channel music. He's a musician. So that's kind of his background. He's not super into communicating with the departed souls, although he will. He's more into channeling music. So, but at this time, that hadn't really been sorted out. So I had reached out to Jody about his abilities because I did not have abilities yet at that time. And so she was really kind, really responsive, answered all my questions. And so Metatron, excuse me, guess every time I'm talking to people lately, I feel like I'm clearing something in my throat, which is kind of interesting because when I'm talking to people in my house, I am not clearing. It's literally only when I'm on video or talking to a client. So I don't know what that's about. But so I reached out to Jody Helm again, and Metatron had this idea, and I knew it was like, I was like, you're telling me one thing, but I know you have something else planned. So his idea was for me to reach out to Jody and ask her, because we're both channelers, if she wanted to channel on the same topic and kind of compare the messages. Because, for example, with Susan and I, my business partner, Susan and I can channel the same individual about the same thing. And many, many times we get different messages that complement each other. And so the message is more complete because we're getting two different light worker perspectives, basically. And the reason I say perspectives is because whenever you're channeling, there are certain limitations on the channeler, right? Because they can only channel to me what I know. They can only use words that I already have in my vocabulary, um, or words that I at least know how to spell and look up on Google. um, and to some extent, channelers, um, they're only open to what they're only open to, if that makes sense. So, you know, if I want to channel about something that I'm like, oh no, that I don't like that. I don't want to do that. I'm not going to be able to channel it. It's just you have to have an openness to these things. So there's lots of factors that kind of impact channelers. Anyways, my point is when we work together as channelers, we get better messages. We get more complete messages. So I reached out to her. I asked her if she would be interested in channeling together. She said yes, because she's just like the most gracious and wonderful human being. And she's like, okay, what are we channeling about? And I was like, oh, and so I asked Metatron, and he said compassion, and he asked her to channel the archangel kind of collective. She has a special name for it that I don't remember, but she basically channels the archangels as a collective. She doesn't really tune into like one particular archangel. And Metatron told me channel Yeshua. So I would like to share the Yeshua message with you. about compassion. So when it first started off, I was nervous because every time I go to channel Yeshua, I feel like I mean, it's self-imposed, but I feel so much pressure because I adore him. I'm like his number one fan, and I would hate to misrepresent him in any way. So I get really nervous, which is not conducive to channeling. You need to be relaxed and in a high vibration. Nervousness is like a 3D kind of feeling. And so I asked Yeshua, I was like, okay, Yeshua, are you ready to channel? And he touches my solar plexus, give me like a little feeling of love. Um, and he starts talking to me and he says, deep breath in and now out. Now let me show you what I'm all about. And then so I was like, he's rhyming, right? Which is not what he normally does with me, but he does have a really good sense of humor. And so I was like trying not to laugh, and I was asking him, are you gonna rhyme this whole time? And he said, do you feel more relaxed now? I was like, okay, yes, because he got me to laugh. Laughing is a higher vibration. So, okay, so here's his message. Compassion is seeing yourself in another person's struggle and gifting them with love in that moment. Those who we withhold our compassion from are those who we see as different or other to ourselves. It is by transcending adversity that we look into the eyes of the prostitute, of the homeless man, of the drug addict, and we see ourselves. The more suffering a soul experiences, the more opportunities there are to find wisdom within those experiences. That wisdom is compassion for the soul. It can be compassion for the self or compassion for others. All souls are beautiful and worthy of love. The soul incarnates to experience things, to learn and to grow. Mistakes and difficult choices are part of that learning. All beings are worthy of compassion. If you do not feel compassionate towards someone else's struggle, you must ask yourself, what hurt do you carry inside that is blocking you from accessing this love? The natural state of your soul is love and compassion for all. You were made by love, with love, for love. To access compassion for all is to access love that has gained wisdom. The person who judges his neighbor will also judge himself harshly. What we project onto others is a reflection of what is already on the inside. Judgment is a self-imposed prison. Judgment is used to divide people into groups and assign them with different values. This does not exist in the spiritual world. All souls have equal value, and there is no mistake or choice that can be made to detract from the inherent divine value of your soul. Your guides and angels love you endlessly, regardless of your choices, and regardless of whether you feel love back for them. To have compassion for the self and for others, one must accept that mistakes are innate, expected, and they do not reduce the value of a soul. How many of you criticize yourself or others for something done in the past? Compassion has the wisdom of knowing that all souls are imperfect. Just as each soul learns and grows through many incarnations, they are not striving for perfection. They are striving for understanding. Perfection was never the goal. No soul is perfect. The spiritual world does not exist in absolutes, but in many shades of gray. Love is the greatest thing that you could ever understand. Love is a multidimensional energy of healing, peace, creation, organization, and harmony. Learning how to express love under all kinds of adversity is why you are here. Have compassion for yourselves and others as each soul navigates their journey the best they know how. Compassion is loving those who are frail in body, but also those who are frail in spirit. Compassion is loving those who are wounded in the body, but also loving those who are wounded in spirit. Compassion sees that perceived deficits in others stem from the suffering within. Suffering is universal. It is the teacher that will find each of us. So that is the end of Yeshua's message. If you have a Medium account already, because it's a paid platform. It's like a $5 a month service or fee. So if you already have Medium, or if you want to join Medium, I have this article listed. And if you want to read Jody's message on compassion, I have her posting linked into my message as well. And after I did this posting with Jody and I had another person on Medium who channels reach out to me, and he felt inspired and he reached out to Archangel Michael and he got another message on compassion. And so I have his message linked in there too. So it's really cool. I have 3 different messages on compassion from 3 different channelers. So if you're interested in that, it's out there. I want to talk to you about, we had a very generous donor who purchased the equivalent of 4 sessions from us to give away to others on YouTube. They wanted it to be, it was supposed to be 3 different activations and a meditation. We've given away the Metatron activation. We've given away the Lightworker activation. Now, I would like to give away the final 2 services from this same donor. So we're going to give away an Andromedan activation. The Andromedan activation, let me just give you an idea of how it works. So for Andromeda, you may feel called to them for a lot of different reasons. The entire galaxy is 7D. It's the first galaxy ever created. It contains Gana, which is the first planet that had incarnated bodies on it, as far as I know, although I think there's also an angelic planet on there they haven't shown me yet. So I think that might have something good there. Let me see. What else do they want me to tell you about it? Let me just tell you how the activations work. We have tons of different activations on our website. So activations, the general purpose is kind of potentially twofold. In a lot of cases, it's designed to activate your etheric DNA that is tied to that group of individuals. So, from my understanding, based on what Metatron tells me, we have 24 strands of etheric DNA. I think at this point, most people think there's 12, but it's because they're every time you get higher dimensional information, things multiply. So I'm not sure what dimension they're looking into that they see the 12, but because I'm cheating and I'm just asking Metatron, he's telling me 24. And I'm not sure if it actually is more than that, and he just wants me to think it's 24 for now. Which is kind of how I feel, but I'm just going to leave that alone for now. So 24 strands of etheric DNA. So how the human being, how the human race was created by Creator, is that he he did exactly, this is funny. This is not funny. This is meant to be on purpose. He did exactly what myself and Jody and that other channeler did. He took one goal and he pulled from many sources. So he's like, I want to make the human being, I want to make the race that's going to be the best of everything the universe has to offer. And there was purposes for that. We are meant to undo the generational traumas and the ancestral traumas and the past lives, and we're meant to undo all of these things that have happened in the past because we have the capability to do it, right? Once we ascend to where we're supposed to be in these bodies. But these 24 strands of DNA, there is it, no, it's interesting. Because I know there's like a, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to say it. There's a Pleiadian strand of DNA. There's a Lyran strand of DNA. I've never actually asked. I don't think I've actually asked him what all these strands are. There's one from Sirius. There's ones from all these different places, right? The Andromedan one, is it just from Ghana? He's saying yes, but that doesn't feel right to me because Andromeda's so huge. Oh, but he's saying the DNA in Ghana they pulled from when they created all the other planets. Okay, that makes sense. So Gana's the first planet created, to the best of my knowledge. It's the blueprinter planet. They had elven people there. They had dragons, unicorns, fairies. Trying to think what else I've seen there. I've seen other beings that I don't remember what the names are that they called them. They almost look like abominable snowmen, but with brown fur, and it was long. And I was really, really close friends with one of them, and in one of my lifetimes. Anyways, so potentially these activations are activating DNA that we all are going to need to activate all of these over time in order to access our full capabilities as human beings, kind of like the super souls. So if you doing an activation that can activate DNA, it will. Some of the activations are like with Commander Ashtar and the Galactic Federation of Light. So that's not a specific DNA strand. What all of these activations are going to do, regardless of the DNA, is that they're going to help attune you to that group. So let's say you're doing I don't know, I guess we'll just stick with galactic. If you're doing the Andromedan activation, the first part of the activation is a meditation. It's a guided meditation. So you do this on your own. It's going to help connect you with those energies on your conscious level and your subconscious level. And then later you have a scheduled session with either Susan or I, depending on which activation you're doing. And for the Andromedan ones, I do those. So during your scheduled session, I connect to your energy. I set up receptors on your body and activate you to be attuned to the energy of, in this case, Andromeda or Andromedan guides or the Andromedan collective or the Andromedan High Council. And during that time, I also will tune in and I'll see who steps forward for you. Usually it's a specific guide. Usually it's like one or two guides. They have names. I get a message from them. Sometimes it could be the collective, although I don't get that as much. I do every once in a while get the High Council that steps forward because you have a soul contract with them and they want to acknowledge it. So there's that as well. So that's kind of the basis of what the activations do. For all of the activations, no energy work that somebody can do for you is like a magic bullet. Nothing we can do for you is like, boom, we just turned something on for you. Although it can happen if you have nothing else blocking you in your mind, I guess is what I'm going to say. We're going to remove all energetic blocks from you that could be preventing you from communicating with these guides. But if you don't kind of practice or give time to connecting with these guides, then you might not notice that they're there reaching out. So when you do these activations, it's always a good idea to already have it in your mind that you want to connect with them, that you're going to try to connect with them, that you're going to make a little bit of time to connect with them. And that's how that relationship is going to start to build up. And it doesn't matter if you're like, oh, I can't see them, I can't hear them. Does not matter. You can still start building a connection with them. One of the things that I recommend to people, if you can't hear them and you can't see them, maybe sit there quietly at some point. Just sit like in meditation, or just sitting real still, real quiet for a while. Make sure your vibration's nice and high. And if you've done one of these activations, you can call out the name of your guide specifically. Or if you haven't done one of these activations, if you just want to call out to like one of the archangels, or you can even just generically call out, you can say, you know what? I want to reach out to any Andromedan guides I have. I don't know your names, but I want to try to start connecting with you. Because honestly, they don't really care what name you call them. They'll respond to any name. They love you. And caring about what your name is kind of like an egotistical thing. They don't care. So you sit quietly and just ask them, hey, can you come and move my body a little bit? Just like close your eyes and relax and just ask them, can you move my body a little bit? Or can you like touch me somewhere? And then get used to that feeling of scanning your body and tuning into the slightest sensations, because sometimes it feels like hot or cold. Sometimes it feels like almost like a little bit of electricity right outside your body somewhere. Um, I was talking to somebody else about this recently. Sometimes, a lot of times, they actually use my lips. I think the mouth is a very sensitive receptor point for us. And so sometimes I can feel like a little electricity outside my lips. Sometimes it's so much that they actually kind of feel numb. So just tune into your body and get used to that, because that's another that's another gift. That's being clair sentient. Use it. But you have to put the effort in to get used to feeling it. And the more you use it, the more it opens up and the easier it is to feel them. But in the beginning, you kind of need to be still and really trying to feel for it. Um, so I'm going to give away that free Andromedan activation for this video. So if you're interested, let me know in the comments. However, I'm going to give away the fourth session as well. And it's going to be just like the last video, where I don't want you to just be like, yes, I want everything. I want you to think about what feels right to you. And if one of these feel right to you, then I want you to indicate it in the comments. So let me tell you what the other session is. And the other session is one that Susan does. And so I'm going to actually pull up the information to make sure I'm giving it to you as completely as possible. So let's see. In our services, we have so many services. We have services where we like meet with you and talk with you and do different things like the Akashic Records, healing, um, black magic clearing, galactic implants, all these different things. We have those, but we also have the activations that I just kind of talked about. And then we also have meditations. So meditations are they're guided meditations. It's a like video recording that you get that you have access to for the rest of your life. You can listen to it as many times as you like, and they're for specific purposes. So let's see if I can pull these up. And so if you go to our website under channeled meditations, we have a couple of them right now. We have healing mindset channeled meditation, which if you're trying to recover from, I always think of it being something physical. It could be something emotional. It could be, yeah, he's telling me. It's like this could be grief. This could be something emotional. This could be somebody who is um, dealing with like Lyme disease or something that is systemic or something that is a long term struggle, is what I want to say. That is something that you can use healing mindset channeled meditation. We've had people use it for chronic fatigue. We've had people use it for um, obsessive compulsive disorder. So there's different things that you can use it for. We also have reawaken your Merkaba. So you have a Merkaba body around you. So if you're looking to kind of activate that or reawaken that, we have a service for that. We have a financial abundance channeled meditation, and we have energy protection for empaths meditation. Okay, but the one I'm going to give away is called generational healing. So let's talk about this one. So for those who are struggling with generational trauma, with patterns that are repeating through their generational line, such as rage, depression, anxiety, addiction, this meditation can help you to cut the ties, to release the traumas that began this cycle. So let me take a look at this, because this is generational. So, generational, this doesn't go back hundreds of thousands of years or anything like that. Generational is going to be your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents, right? It should be those three. Potentially, he could take it back one more generation if he needs to, but usually it's parents, grandparents, great grandparents, both sides of the family. So, this is something that we channeled from Metatron. Um, we collaborated on this. So it's Susan channeled the meditation. I'm the one who's speaking it. We have we are working with Annex Arcana, which is he's he's my husband, to be very honest with you. This is my husband who channels, his name is not Annex Arcana, that's his business name. But he channels Ra and Metatron and Konsu and different guides in order to channel music. And so his music is playing in the background of this meditation. So it's a collaboration, so it's more potent because of that. So if you want to help release generational traumas, um, this is going to release all the energetic components of it. This, like, let's put it this way. It's going to heal everything energetic that is holding these traumas into a pattern. Because here's the thing, when you have trauma that's so intense, let's say it's your grandparent, they're in a war, they're doing something happens, and that trauma is so intense, it actually changes their DNA. Now, when they have children, the child is carrying that genetic change, and it keeps carrying down, and it carries down for up to 4 generations. And so Susan works on these, she will be removing the energetic components that are holding this repeating pattern. She's going to remove that so it quits going down the generations. It's not going to, like, let's say, for example, we work on you and your father's an alcoholic. Your father will not all of a sudden stop being an alcoholic. But if you have children or grandchildren after this time, they won't be susceptible to that particular hard pattern unless they're getting it from another side of the family. So it doesn't take away the free will. It doesn't necessarily change the behaviors of other people. But if, like, let's say you're the one struggling with addiction, let's say your father's the alcoholic, you are an alcoholic, you choose to do this session. Well, now you have power in your corner because you can do this session, remove all the holds, and now you, using your free will, can choose to make other choices, and you will be less held into that pattern. It's going to make it a little bit easier for you to step into a new pattern and a new way of being. So that's where the real power is. It's not going to give you a tool to, like, control your family members, but it's a tool that can empower you if you see the effects of generational trauma, rage, or whatever the case may be coming down the line for you. So, okay, so if you're interested in healing generational trauma, let us know in the comments for that free service. If you're interested in the Andromedan activation to connect with your star guides, your star being guides, let us know in the comments. And okay, and that's all he wants to do for now. So I feel like I have something else, but I'm going to leave it at that because he wants me to leave it at that. So I'm going to. Okay. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.